our sixth example. So in this example, we are trying to eliminate the problem in our example 5. That is, in example 5, student number, marks, grade and GPA values has replaced by the current line of the student information. So we cannot store all the post student information within our program. So right now what we are trying to do, we are trying to modify that program in order to store all the post student information within our program memory. In order to do that, what I have done in the first statement in my main program, so I have declared a two-dimensional array student number. So that means I will have 4 rows. For each row can store 20 different characters. Right? So let's try to understand this example by going through the program execution and by looking at the program memory. So let's assume that when we are executing the program, and when we are executing the program, it will start execution the first statement in the main function. So first statement in the main function is we are trying to declare a two-dimensional array called student number. That array contains 4 rows and each row containing 20 different character memory locations. So that means it has 4 rows and 20 columns, right? So if you look at the memory allocation for this declaration statement, so this is how the memory allocation. So within the main function memory, it will have the two-dimensional array called student number. It will have 4 different rows, that is specified by the first dimension. Then the second dimension specified how many columns that you need to have in this two-dimensional array. I have specified 20 different columns in this two-dimensional array. So this is how my program memory look like after it's executing the first statement in my main function. The next statement, what I am doing, I am declaring a one-dimensional array with 4 elements called marks. So marks will be right now, it's not just a variable, it's an array where we can hold 4 different integer values. So if I execute this statement in my computer, so this is how my computer memory look like. So now it will have a marks array which can store 4 different integer values. The next statement, what I'm going to do, I'm going to declare a grade array where it can store 4 different grade values, right? So after executing of that statement, so this is how my program memory look like, right? So where it can store 4 different character values, right? So this is how my memory look like after executing of the first 3 declaration statement. In the next declaration statement, what I'm going to do, I'm going to declare a GPA array with 4 elements to store my 4 student GPA values. So if my computer execute this statement, so this is how my memory look like. In the next statement, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to declare a file pointer called FP in order to open my file called student_data.txt file. So after execution of this statement, this is how my program memory look like. So I will have a file pointer, but initially, so in this statement, after execution of this statement, my FP is not pointing to anywhere, so it's pointing to the null file pointer. So in the next statement, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to open the student.txt file which is currently available in my current folder, and I'm going to open that file with the read mode and assign that file into my FP file pointer. So let's assume that we have the student_data.txt file in the current folder. So this is the file we want to open. So let's assume that that file is in my current folder. So that means it will successfully open, my fopen command will successfully open that student_data.txt file with the read mode, and it will assign that file into my FP file pointer. So after successfully executing this statement, so this is how my program memory look like. So I will have student_data.txt file attached to the file point. So let's try to execute the next statements. In the next statement, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to check the if condition. So if my FP equal to null or not. So right now my FP is not equal to null. It is assigned into my student underscore data.txt file stream. So it is not equal to null. So this condition becomes false. So if this condition becomes false, that means I'm not going to execute any of the inner statements. So I'm going to jump into my next statement in my main function. In the next statement in my main function, what I'm going to do, I'm trying to execute the for statement or the for loop. So when I'm executing the for statement, first what we need to do, we need to execute the initialization state. In the initialization statement, what I'm doing, I'm going to declare a variable called I, and I'm going to assign value 0 to that variable. So if I execute the initialization statement in my for loop, so this is how my memory look like. So I have a variable called I, and it got the value 0. Now what I need to do, I need to check the condition whether this condition becomes true or false. If this condition becomes true, then I'm going to execute the for if scanf statement. If this condition becomes false, then I'm going to exit from my for loop. So right now I value is 0. This condition becomes true. 0 is less than 4. Then I'm going to do the inner statement. So I'm going to do a if scanf statement. I'm going to read the string from my file stream, and I'm going to store that string into my student number I. So student number I means, so right now it's indicating only the row number, right? See, but it is a two-dimensional array, but since we are reading a string, we can just put the whatever the string that we have read from the file stream direct into the row to my student number character two-dimensional array. So right now, if I read the first student number, that is PS 2019-001, will be stored in my first row. So when it execute the first if scanf statement, so this is how my student array will look like. So it has stored the PS 2019-001 in my first row of the student number array, right? So after executing of that statement, what is the next statement? Next statement also if scanf. I'm going to read the integer value, and I'm going to save it into the marks I location. So right now I is 0. So marks I location will be 0. So I'm going to store first student marks, that is 70, into this memory location. Then similarly in the next if scanf, I'm going to read a character value, and I'm going to store that character value, that is A. I'm going to store into my grade array first memory location. Then I'm going to read a GPA, that is 3.42. I'm going to store into my GPA array first element, right? So after executing of these four if scanf statements, so this is how my memory look like. So that's all in my for loop. So right now I have completed the first iteration. Now what I need to do, I need to go and update my I value. So I'm going to update my I value to be 1. So because I'm incrementing my I value. Then what I'm going to do, once you update the I value, then you need to come here and check the condition. If this condition becomes true, then you need to go and iterate the loop once again. If this condition becomes false, you can exit from the for loop. So right now I value is 1. So that means this condition becomes true. Then I'm going to do the first if scanf statement. So once I do the first scanf statement, first statement is read in the student number from the second line, because once I do the first iteration, my reading cursor will be stayed in front of the B. So now it is reading the student number, and it will be stored into my second row. And so once I read the student number, so this is how my memory look like. Then I'm going to read the mark, so that will be 80. So that will be stored in here. Then I'm going to read the character, so that will be stored in here. Then the second student GPA will be 3.34. That will be stored in here. So now I have completed the second iteration. Then what I need to do, I need to go and update my I value. After updating the I value, my new I value will become 2. Then what I need to do, I need to come here and check the condition. Now 2 is less than 4. This condition becomes true. Then I'm going to execute my inner for statement once again. So when I'm executing the inner for statement, it will read the third student number into my student number array. And so this is how once we read the third student number into my student array, this is how my memory look like. Then I'm going to read his marks, that is 75. That value will be stored in here. Third student grade, so that's also A, so that value will be stored in here. Third student GPA, so 3.56, that value will be stored in here. So this is how my memory look like once I read the information for my third student. So once I read the third student information, my reading cursor will stay in front of my fourth line, right? So now once I complete the reading of the third student information, that's all in my for loop. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to update my I value. So once I update the I value, new I value will becomes 3. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to check the condition. Is my I value is less than 4, this condition becomes true. Right now I value is 3. 3 is less than 4, this condition becomes true. Then I'm going to read the fourth student information. So first I'm going to read the student number, fourth student number. Right, so this is how my memory look like once I read the fourth student number. So this character is I told you in the previous example also, this is we called as a terminating character. So this indicates the end of the string. So this character will automatically put by the C language. So right now you don't have to worry about it. So this indicates, so in this string, this is the end of the string, right? If you print it, then that is how it will get this information without displaying the all the rest of the information, right? So now I'm going to store the fourth student marks, that is 70, and fourth student grade A, fourth student GPA 3.87. Right, so now I have read all the information, all the 4 information for the fourth student. So that means I have completed this first if scanf statement. So that's all in my for loop. Now what I need to do, I need to go and update my I value. So once I update the I value by 1, new I value becomes 4. So then I'm checking the condition is right now I value is less than 4. Right now I value is 4. 4 is not less than 4. So this condition become false. That means I can exit from the for loop and I can execute the other statement. So other statement, what I'm going to do, in this statement I'm just printing the title of my student information. So that is student number, marks, grade and GP. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to run a for loop and I'm going to print all the information from my arrays. So that means student I. Right now I is at the beginning I is 0. So that means student 0, marks 0, grade 0, GPA 0. So that means I'm basically printing the first student ID and all the values in the first element of my arrays. When I equal to 2, then I'm printing the second row of my student two-dimensional array and the second element of my marks, grade and GP. So that means I will basically get this kind of output from my program. So how we can print this kind of information? Because right now we have stored all the information within our program memory. So that is the advantage of this program. So we can do this kind of a printing, or if you want, you can find the average student GPA or average mark, right? So you can have all the 4 student information inside your memory. So you can do whatever the processing that you need. So in this case, we have just print the information into the standard output stream. But if you want, you can do more processing with the stored information. So advantage of this version of the program than the previous version. So this version of the program contain all the 4 student, all the information within our memory. So we can use those information for the further processing in our program. Once my computer completing this for loop, then it will go and execute the fclose command. It will happen, it will assign this file pointer into the null file pointer. So this is how my memory look like after executing the fclose fp statement. So that means right now my program is not referring to this memory location. So my program itself or my computer can use this allocated memory for the different purposes, because right now it's not using my program, it's just hanging there. So that is the advantage of the clause in the file pointer. So we can efficiently use that memory without having reserved it to our program, right? So I hope everyone is understood this program. So after that, assigning FP into the null file pointer. So next statement, what I'm going to do, I'm going to exit from my main program, and so my program output will be this kind of output, right? So let's go and execute this program. First, I'm going to compile my example 6. So now I'm going to execute that program. So now you can see it has put all the information in nice tabular format. So that is what we have expected in here. So we have used the formatted output characters when we are printing our information. So that is why we have got this kind of a nice output in our standard output stream. So I hope everyone understood about this example and how we got this kind of output and how the memory has allocated in our program for this purposes.